Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Daggerheart and how it has fundamentally changed the landscape of tabletop role-playing games forever in ways that absolutely no one expected. So what is what is happening? How has Daggerheart changed the tabletop role-playing game landscape forever? It is my humble opinion that Daggerheart is the absolute end-all be-all. It is the death of the OSR, and absolutely the death of the concept, not the actual people, the concept of Grognard. It has utterly swept the table of the whole idea of Grognards, and is really about to put OSR in the dirt, just in the dirt. Okay, so how and why? Okay, here, and again, like the Jewish people say, do and understand. Do and understand. It's one of my favorite say. I love the Jewish people. They're one of my favorite cultures in the world. Them and the Japanese. I just think they just have better culture. They have the best cultures in the world. Like America's really high. Americans are very cool as well. But I just love the Jewish people, and I love the Japanese people. I just think their culture is it's peak culture. Like, it's just really good. So and they say do and understand it. And the thing is, you think you get it until it arrives, but you don't. Like, you don't really understand what's happening until it hits. And Daggerheart is just so different, and just, we didn't see this coming. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody understood what was happening, right? So what has it done? So here's what's happening. This is shocking. All right. So what's happening is that it arrives, and it's not a D&D clone. It's real. It's genuine. This thing is that it is really moving, right? It's a very real thing, right? It's not just it's real. It's just a real tabletop role-playing game that has the real possibilities of actually changing fundamentally what's happening with in the TTRPG space, right? And it's a real threat to Dungeons and Dragons. And if there's just one thing, Critical Role has never worked hard in their lives. No one, literally none of them. They're literally kings and queens of Dungeons and Dragons, and they don't care. They none of them have quit in their day job. It's a side hustle. It's literally a side hustle. But they're there now. Like, they really have the possibility of beating Dungeons and Dragons and becoming the D&D killer. And there are billions of dollars on the line. Billions, right? Oh, I don't know, Scott. Is it worth billions? Hey, fool. A year ago, there was literally an international story that a $500 billion international conglomerate was looking at buying D&D, right? That was a real story, right? Go check it. Like, not just me saying it. Professor Dungeon Master did a whole video on it, right? Like it was a thing, right? Like, there are billions at stake here, billions, right? And like, D&D has made billions of dollars over the year. There are billions of dollars at stake here. That's not an exaggeration. That's real, right? And this is one of the things that I think is, people keep thinking, like, people get confused with these OSR and indie numbers, right? Nobody cares about book sales, right? We're talking about Hollywood being connected to these projects, right? And D&D, that's real. D&D takes calls from Lego, right? Like, it doesn't play in the OSR and indie space, right? And Daggerheart has the ability to actually become the new D&D killer. It has a possibility to move into the space. And so there's this titanic fight that's happening right now, right? And the reality, and what's happened is, absolutely nobody has time for OSR or Grognard nonsense at this point. And I think all at once, the Grognards realized it. They're like, oh my gosh, we could barely get our stuff covered when we were just going against D&D. But now that both D&D and Daggerheart have real communities, and they are, and it's a Godzilla Mothra fight, absolutely no one is going to give even 1 second of time to our nonsense, right? And so what is happening? Well, this is shocking. Bob Worldbuilder, Professor Dungeon Master, Baron de Rop, whole slew of them. All these guys that absolutely hated D&D, just stood against it in every possible way. They're like, wait a second, D&D's not that bad, everybody. Maybe we should pay attention to D&D. And I see a shift, right? I see a shift where they're like, literally, they're like, we could barely sell OSR before, right? Now that there's going to be 2 healthy communities in tabletop role-playing games, and we can't get our butt kicked by 2 titans at once, right? Like, and so I think the OSR is putting down their OSR banner and picking up D&D 5th edition, because now D&D 5th edition is the old school. Daggerheart is so weird, so fresh, so new, right? That it actually is old school compared to Daggerheart. That's fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating, that we've arrived in a world where Grognards realize nobody cares. They're almost all literally, like, Grognards are very old. Like, Grognard means old complainer, right? Many of them are moving to the great beyond, right? Just going upstairs, right? Yeah, I'll keep it there, right? And and then also the OSR thing was a thing, right? But at this point, there's no room for that nonsense. Mothra and Godzilla are fighting, right? And OSR is just looking up, hoping to not get stomped, but they're not going to be able. And then I think others are like, well, wait, let's not be in the middle of this. Let's pick a side. And the Grognards are picking D&D 5th. They're picking D&D 5th. And I think the reason why is they're like, with this kind of titanic fight, it's not going to work. They can't just continue to do their normal nonsense, right? And they can't even do their D&D hate videos because like, half the views are going to Daggerheart now. It's incredible. So I think this is a really shocking, amazing turn of events, and I believe that, and I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. I love to see the OSR down, and I love to see Grognard's down. And I think, man, they were getting a swift virtual. They were getting a swift virtual, kick to the jumblies before by D&D on the reg. Now Daggerheart's joining. OSR is done. Grognards are done. Absolutely nobody has time for any of their nonsense anymore. And I think it's a really good change coming from Daggerheart. We are in fascinating times. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion, nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.